Should we?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
We are rocking and roll. No. It's been a while since we recorded, and so it's gonna I'll find my mid-season form midway through this episode.
It hasn't been that long.
But I've traveled the country since then, Evan.
Me too.
Yeah, we are
world travelers.
If the world were the Midwest, absolutely.
The world is the Midwest.
Well, don't you know it?
The Midwest is just the whole world.
Everything is encompassed there, minus mountains and oceans. And
Midwest is such a generic term. Anything can be the Midwest.
Yeah. Even Missouri says it's the Midwest from time to time. And we're like, you're fucking wrong, slave state.
No, they can't be Midwest. Everything except for Missouri.
Yeah.
Alaska? Sure, fine.
Yeah. Yeah, then the Midwest would finally have its mountains.
Yeah, but not Missouri.
Yeah, and what else doesn't have mountains? The NHL.
I mean, it's got proverbial mountains, like the mountain you have to climb if you want to challenge a offside penalty that happened 15 minutes ago.
The mountain you have to climb to allow people of color to enjoy themselves within the game.
The mountain you have to climb to release Connor McDavid from Edmonton.
Or the mountain you have to climb to get traded away from Philly. And that is a precursor to what we'll talk about next. However, this is the Handsome Hockey Podcast. I'm Jake.
I am Evan.
I am Evan.
I am Evan.
I am an Evan.
I am one Evan.
I am definitely human.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely human and definitely running from the Philadelphia Flyers. I know a guy who he got fired from, I think it was a telemarketer for sounding too professional.
Hello.
I think he also was later on NPR for a little bit.
He sounds like Troy McClure.
He was just so proper sounding. Yeah, kind of.
Are you a robot or are you English? I am neither. Prove it. I like dogs. Robot. Everybody likes dogs. Anyways, yes, running from Philadelphia, like running back to Saskatoon, is a current theme of the NHL. Cutter Gauthier, is it Gauthier? Gauthier?
I thought it was like Gauthier.
Gauthier.
Gauthier and Kimbra.
It's
didn't have to cut me off.
But he did. And if dodging Philadelphia representatives in Sweden is any indicator, he did cut them off, or cut them out. The Flyers responded by trading him, perhaps their highest prospect, for Jamie Drysdale and a 2025 second rounder from the Anaheim Ducks.
Which, I mean, round of applause for Danny Briere. He took what was a bad situation and got something for this guy quickly.
I will give him props because he could have Ken Holland it.
Yeah.
And got a 6th round pick and
a third liner making $4 million a year.
Just the statistics from Pat Verbeek's last season in the NHL, not him as a player, not any sort of ice time, just a stat line. And they would have traded that stat line. That 2025 second rounder is a Ducks 2025 second rounder. So it's basically a first rounder. Granted, the Ducks could be on the upswing by then. They've got a ton of young forwards, and they actually were operating from quite a surplus of defenders. So trading Jamie Drysdale, yes, he was, I think, the 4th pick in 2019?
Something like that.
2020. And so he obviously got the pedigree. He has looked pretty solid when playing, but he's been super unhealthy throughout his career. I think he's only played 22 games in the last 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons. You have to hope that he'll be healthy and that he'll adapt to Torts' system, but he does give them bona fide credentials for the power play right away. He comes in with that pedigree of being a puck-moving defenseman who's solid in his own zone, but his real skill is going forward. I think it's a win-win on this trade front. You know, a lot of folks kind of panned the Philly side of things, but honestly, like in my mind, like if we're giving Anaheim an A for this trade, I think it's like a B plus for Briere, considering the hand he was dealt. Like he effectively had to get rid of Gauthier.
Yeah, exactly. And in all of this, everyone has sort of supposed that Kevin Hayes has been in Cutter Gauthier's ear and has been poisoning him against the Flyers. To which Kevin Hayes says, "Fuck you guys. I didn't do shit."
We can go back to Eric Lindros, Eli Manning, you know, things of that nature where people forced teams' hands by basically saying, "I will not play for this team," etc.
Right.
I like it when players kind of exercise some power over themselves.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I'm like, you haven't even been there yet.
Well, he did reportedly have sort of an awkward meeting with John Tortorella where Tortorella didn't even like know who he was. And while also just being weird and kind of aggressive, allegedly.
So he was John Tortorella.
Right. So it's like, did they do something to piss him off behind the scenes somewhere? Or, you know, did he just have like a bad interaction with Philly fans? I mean, according to Kevin Hayes, he's been now getting like death threats and shit ever since someone reported that he might have been a part of, you know, Cutter building his opinions. So it could just be that like the Philly fans have made their own bed here and they are angrily sleeping in it.
Well, in typical Philadelphia fashion, Gauthier, they sent death threats to Cutter after people heard that he didn't want to play in Philadelphia. And it's like, this is a sport.
They're telling him, we're going to Cutter you.
Yeah. We're going to Gauthier you. Oh, wait.
That's actually a medieval torture method, the Gauthier.
Yeah. It involves a lasso and peanut butter and...
and you don't want to know the rest.
And like some serious stretching.
I just have the image of Cutter Gauthier just running away from the Philly brass at the World Junior Classic, like Catch Me If You Can, or like the chase scene in the Wes Anderson movie where it's just like people like kind of scurrying across a hallway and back and like the camera just stays and you just see people like running around and
Isn't
chasing
Catch
after
Me
somebody.
If You Can the Tom Hanks and...
Mm-hmm.
That's a Wes Anderson movie?
No, I'm talking about two different movies.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
I need to take a step back here.
The other funny place my brain went was the Ben Affleck fake interview from Good Will Hunting, where he like goes into some hotshot law firm supposed to be, he's pretending to be Will Hunting, and he's like, "We need to talk about retainer."
This is one of the weirder stories to come out of the NHL.
Yeah,
in the
for
last
real.
Couple of weeks, and again, I applaud Cutter for he's a future spokesperson for a brand of bug spray. That's a deal made in heaven.
Reportedly, his middle name is Deep Woods.
What if the real he needs to go somewhere swampy, so like that deal will actually like really take off. He's
yeah,
like,
I mean, he needs to be in Minnesota.
Yeah, when I step out of the Excel Energy Center, I immediately spray myself with myself. It's got no deet, and I play no D. See you later.
Ooh, that writes itself. I love it.
And this is why the NHL marketing system sucks. These things write themselves, and they're embarrassingly behind the times. I don't know, like, really what else to say about this. It's just kind of yet another anything that riles up Philly fans, I'm okay with. I hate the fact that my like only close Philadelphia fan friend is like somewhat reasonable about things. And so I send him these things that happen to Philly, and he's like, well, we got this out of it. It's kind of good. I'm like, damn it, be upset, man.
It's tough to be reasonable about the Flyers.
Why aren't you the one eating horse poop? Like, damn it, man.
I sent you this to get you very angry.
You're supposed to be mad and send me gifts that are inappropriate.
You're supposed to chuck things at your own players.
Yeah, that are sharp. Speaking of sharp, the jerseys in the PWHL are the antithesis of that, as is the merch.
They look okay on ice, at least.
You're always so kind.
Well, I mean, I've been critical about the jerseys, but now that the PWHL is up and running, and you get to see them on the ice, it's like, okay, the colors at least are fine, even if the jerseys are boring.
Yeah. What hasn't been boring and has been better than fine, though, is the actual hockey. It's been super entertaining. It's been back and forth. It's really showcasing both the speed, skill, and the physicality of the women's game.
It has been physical.
Yeah. Oh, God, I wish, like, if we ever get to attend a PWHL game, we're wearing leggings now. Or I guess leg warmers would be the appropriate term.
Why not both?
You know what? You're right, Evan. You know what? We got legs that kill. We can wear both.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay has been outstanding, as we expected it to be, with the best players in the world playing in a league.
Yeah.
And it's a league that hasn't been so saturated or so decimated by how many teams that are in it, that there is enough talent to go around. It's not like you have to watch Arizona play you play Houston, not
soon.
Freudian sleep. You don't have to watch Arizona play Ottawa on a Thursday night at 7:30 at night. You get to see legitimately one of the 10 best players in the world play every game. And so you're sitting on a gold mine of hockey skill, and if you're watching it, and it's kind of hard to watch here in the States. If you're in the Canada, my God, I am off today. If you are in the Canada, you can watch it on TSN and all of their subsidiaries, which must be nice. Just like you can watch the World Juniors, more about which later.
You can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, so you can watch it on YouTube, which is helpful, but it would be nice if they had some broadcast rights that were, giving them some money. Not that they need it, but
I mean, they do need some money.
Well, they've got deep pockets to start, but yes, they will eventually need money to continue to exist. Attendance for every game has been very solid. There was a lot of quipping oh, we don't even know where they're going to play yet. This is stupid. We'll never be able to get there. Turns out that was bullshit, because the games have been well attended, including setting world records for most fans in attendance for a professional women's game twice.
Yeah, it seems like they're just continuing to set records as they start this young season, and they've also had some growing pains. Attendance has been so overwhelming that sometimes at the gates there's been just pileups of people, and they can't get them in quickly enough. And good problems to have if you're trying to start a league, because demand is high. I always found that kind of funny too, because they sold the tickets. They ostensibly knew how many people were coming.
Yeah, it's not like people were just showing up for free.
Right.
The PWHL has had to already postpone a game, but it was due to weather. So good for them for being proactive and not getting their players in positions where they might get stuck somewhere.
Yep. I mean, unfortunately, that's a reality of running a professional hockey league is logistics. We've seen the NHL have some silliness about that. So I guess it makes sense that the PWHL would have to endure that pretty early, although I think everything is getting snowed on right now.
Yeah, even we are about to get snowed on.
Yeah, it's just oh, you're going to get whomped. All right, fine.
That was a nice ope in there. I appreciate it.
Ope.
We talked about the record-setting attendance. I think it was Ottawa, Montreal set the record by a couple hundred people. it was like just under 9,000, and the previous record had been just over 8,000. Minnesota and Montreal were like, nah, bitch.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. We gonna kick this door in, and set the record at 13,316, which is a lot more than the previous record. And with Minnesota's PWHL team playing at the Xcel Energy Center, there's honestly a chance that they could break this again routinely throughout the season.
Yeah, the capacity is 17,954, it says on the Wikipedia. I'm also seeing 20,000, but I bet that's including service staff.
And maybe that's also for like a concert when the floor is available.
My guess is that's including like concourses and stuff too.
Yeah.
But so we could be looking at maybe that being the new record at some point in the near future. But when I watched the game that was there, it looked awesome. It was packed. Having the professional cameras, sight lines, and everything, it really made a difference. Like the broadcast was exactly what you're used to seeing from, an NHL perspective. It had like just bad Pierre Maguire jokes in there. Like it felt like home.
Yeah. It's just what I wanted. Yeah.
I forget what it was, but yeah, I was watching and it was just like one of the announcers said something and I was just like, groan.
Yeah.
I was like, it's hockey. It's professional hockey with the groaners.
Yeah. You're just like, your back hurts and you're like, that's not just because I'm old. That's because that was so bad. But you really kind of got to hand it to the PWHL. This could have gone really poorly.
Yeah, and it does seem that there is sort of strategic concessions to kind of punt on logo jerseys and a couple of other things while they got this thing just up and running. It seems like a right decision now that we have that and it's moving forward and the product looks good.
I'm not buying a Haley Skamura jersey until they look good, though.
Sure. And I'm not buying a giant M sweater. Lord knows you probably have enough of those in different colors. But
they're all amazing blue.
Yeah.
Go blue. Just,
You don't think you could use like a vanilla girl in gray one?
I could make it work.
You could root for Montreal or Minnesota.
Let's get weird, man. I'll just go to the game and they'll be like, so who are you rooting for? I'll be like,
Montreal, Minnesota.
Campbell's soup.
I mean, yeah. So if you had worn one of these strange M sweaters to the Montreal, Minnesota game, you really could have cheered for both teams.
So let's just hope that the merch someday matches the product on ice, because it's tragic, honestly. Like,
yeah, it's a little weird, and hopefully, some other people come along and make some merch here shortly. But yeah, that's the biggest failing right now, is they're probably not selling a whole lot of this stuff, I would imagine, but maybe I'm wrong.
We're right in kind of the beginning, the first salvos of this league, and so far, product wise, it looks like it's answering every question that could have been asked of it.
Mm-hmm.
I am really excited for the moment when the Athletic posts an article about the PWHL and nobody chimes in, why is this on my NHL feed? I don't even like hockey or women. So did you know they can't even skate? They actually play, they roll around on yoga balls. Like, I'm just so fucking tired of that bullshit. And it's like such a tired sentiment. Like, you clicked on the article, you're an asshole.
Yoga ball hockey could be fun to watch.
Oh, we think we have upper body injuries in hockey already. Like, yoga ball hockey would be the king of upper body injuries.
Speaking of salvos, Grace Zumwinkle has your first PWHL hat trick against Montreal at home. Minnesota became the first home team to win a game this season. The first 3 games all went to the visiting team. And with her hat trick, Grace sits atop the PWHL leaderboard of goals with 4, game-winning goals with 2, and total points with 4. To which she says, "Obviously, I like scoring goals."
Is that a real quote?
Yes.
And you know what? I do too. We've got that. Grace, you and I have that in common. We should have a podcast.
Yeah.
The I Like to Score Goals podcast. She'll talk about the goals she's scored, and I'll just be silent in the corner. That sounds great, Grace.
Who should have been silent in the corner was the random Twitter commentator who tried to figure out who MPP's fiance was.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, where's this handsome man in the stands that she's, celebrating with? And it's like, someone responded, her fiance's a player on the team. She's gay, Marcus.
She's gay, dude. And it's like, what? There was just this moment of pure terror on Marcus's face where he was just like, oh, and it was either because he was like, oh, gays, or he was like, I've been bad on the internet now. I'm going to get shamed. And it turns out, yes, you were, Marcus.
You know who was shamed was Canada at the World Juniors.
I love it when this happens.
Baby. It turns out that if you build yourself a wannabe Don Cherry team and don't actually take all of your scoring forwards that you have available, you're not going to score enough goals to win games.
Yeah, when you leave the dude who's scored, I think it was like 68 points in 34 games in the WHL, he leads all of the CHL in scoring. You're just like, we don't need that.
Yeah, we need to bring some meat.
And it turns out meat doesn't play as well in the World Juniors. Yeah. And you know what it does? The USA.
Mm-hmm. USA number one.
In our hearts and in our minds and on the ice.
They beat, who did they beat in the championship?
Sweden.
They beat Sweden, and
on home ice.
Yeah, there was some consternation after the fact with some celebrating and some how should we say poppycocking by the USA players. But,
so Ryan Leonard scores a goal and blows a kiss and waves goodbye to the Swedish fans in attendance.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yes, Sweden responds by sending a 6'4" guy who had 0 shifts the entire tournament out to fight a 5'9" guy from the US. The 5'9" guy fought him off, and then after they got separated, went back after him and was like, "You're a bitch." This is like, not only are you going after the shortest guy on the ice, but I'm tougher than you. Who is also a Red Wings prospect, unfortunately. But
speaking of Red Wings prospects fighting, this is just a random aside.
Yeah.
So Alex DeBrincat fought Roman Josi, and Roman Josi seemed to do a bit of a business decision and just kind of let DeBrincat kick his ass. It was a very lopsided fight, and I saw a story from Mark Lazarus that's one time, I guess, in juniors or something, Alex was having a shitty game, and so he just like went around and started hitting people and getting in fights.
That tracks. You look at that dude. That dude has seen some shit.
Yeah, he's not big, but he's a tough little fucker.
Yeah, and you realize like Josi like immediately regretted his decision.
Exactly. He's like, "Oh, this is a bad idea."
Because if I remember correctly, he drops his gloves first, and then DeBrincat's like, all of a sudden there's just like this look where Yosi's like, I may have made a mistake.
Yeah, he probably saw like the excitement and the lights go on in DeBrincat's eyes, and he's like, oh no.
Like all of a sudden, like Yahtzee was rolled in his eyelids. It was like Mario eating the mushroom. Like all of a sudden he was like twice as tough.
His eyes just start to glow.
He went full Super Saiyan.
Mm-hmm. You know who isn't as much of a Super Saiyan as we thought he was is Connor Bedard, who is out 6 to 8 weeks with jaw surgery. Even
Goku dies, dude.
Yeah.
A lot, actually.
it just takes him 6 to 8 weeks to come back.
Yeah, they got to find all the Dragon Balls. That shit ain't easy.
It was a weird hit that he kind of both ran into and was thrown on him. It was clean. Just kind of bad luck. It seemed like the defenseman like caught his head either with a helmet or maybe like with the back end of his stick or something. But you got to keep your head up out there and avoid contact. And Connor Bedard learns a pretty rough rookie lesson.
I mean, this also falls in line with what Tortorella said a couple of months back about young guys not keeping their heads up, not thinking they're going to get hit, and then realizing, oh shit, I'm in the NHL now, and getting hurt because of it. And it tracks. And you watch a hockey game and you're like I was watching Ottawa the other night, and Brady Tkachuk loves hitting people, loves stirring the pot. And he was skating with his head down in center ice, and somebody was just like, bink, and just knocked him down. And it's like you gotta fucking pay attention, bud. Like, even in like beer league ice hockey, you go, you know what? I'm gonna keep my head on a swivel every time I cross center ice. Like, this is this is potentially bad.
Yep. Elsewhere in potentially bad, Corey Perry back on the radar.
He met with Commissioner Gary Bell-Bottom Blues Bettman to kind of talk about reinstatement and about whatever it was that actually ended up happening in Chicago.
Do you think he was allowed to tell Gary what happened?
And Gary was like, bro,
we're all very disappointed in you, son.
Yeah. So Corey Perry, did have his contract voided by the Blackhawks, so he is eligible to sign anywhere he wants. Whether people want him or not is another question, but I have a hard time believing that Corey Perry doesn't finish the season on somebody's roster.
Yeah, he's looked useful enough for the Blackhawks that I'm sure someone will pick him up at a very nice price, considering he's slightly damaged goods at this point. They'll probably be like, can we just get like a 30% coupon on your AAV here, pal? Because you did something bad.
Would it be awesome if he went back to Anaheim?
Would be very funny, yes.
Yeah.
Or, back to any of the 8 teams he's played for.
Yeah. He's going for the Yager. When you've played for 8 teams, you've played with jerseys that are a lot of different colors. And Connor McDavid did something with a lot of colors by wearing pride tape in warmups the other night for the home team's pride night,
which is such an ubermensch move. Like, it's not even my pride night yet. I'm gonna put some pride tape on and support.
We have made a lot of jokes, and while they're jokes, they're also factual statements about Connor McDard. Wow. I'm leaving all of these foibles in tonight when I edit this.
Leave that one.
They're so bad. But we've made some Connor McDard. We have made so many factual statements / jokes about Connor McDavid having zero personality. He's kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit rewritten that narrative in the last couple of years. He spoke up about the Olympics and, this pride tape thing is something that if you had told me even 2 seasons ago that he would have an issue with that the removal of it and that he would participate, despite the league saying no, I would have been like, yeah, you're wrong. Like, he's not going to do that. And so obviously Connor McDavid, best player in the world. That's, goes without saying. The fact that he's kind of standing up and sticking his foot in the murk to maybe make things a little bit better for folks, or at least make some kind of silent stance.
Right.
It's a move. It's a small move, but it's a move forward for hockey. Hockey historically has its superstars be these creatures who hide in the shadows and say the dullest things to reporters, to the point where my wife, who hates sports, made a comment, was like, are all hockey players this bad at interviews? Yes, yes, they are. And then I told her about the wonders of David Pasternak, and she was like, well, at least they have one.
We just got to get 4 lines deep, and we just got to work hard for the boys out there in the corners.
We got to cycle the puck, and we got to, not suck so much.
But yeah, it's nice to see a star kind of stick his neck out for a social cause, especially one that's been as under fire as Pride Nights have been over the last year and change.
It's because of that gay agenda.
Yeah, it's because of that damn Ian Pravrav.
Yeah.
To which, still to this day, Money Puck has his name just like rainbowed out on their website. It's very funny.
Good. It's funny when people are upset by the quote unquote gay agenda when the gay agenda is to exist.
Yeah, the gay agenda is to brunch.
Yeah, not be beaten up or killed for existing, and while also brunching.
Yeah, and you know what's nice about Connor McDavid doing this is like he's not going to get healthy scratched like the guy in Arizona did on their Pride Night after he, kind of defied orders first. Connor McDavid isn't going to get benched like Travis Dermott for Pride Night because, well, that would raise more eyebrows than when Travis Dermott was kind of probably quietly made to be punished for his... He was totally being punished for his insolence.
Insolence. There you go.
Not insulin. Insolence.
He's like, I'm not diabetic. We're like, oh, Travis. Oh.
So we have a new and original epidemic in hockey, and it is butchering the Canadian national anthem because it's happened like 3 times in the last month.
And also, it's partly in French. So, I mean, you get what you get.
Yeah. It all kind of came to a head when Shalante Taylor, the Broadway star and singer, real butchered the anthem in New York with the Leafs in attendance. Like, if you want to butcher the anthem, let's get the whiniest fan base in there to do it. And she rushed like incredibly fast. The Canadians were also insulted that the anthem, which is usually a slog along, it's about as long as Hotel California. They said, oh yeah, it was over in less than 60 seconds, which I'm like, that's a good thing for an anthem.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I have so many jokes there, but I'll avoid all of them.
Rumor has it that she cut the guitar solo. She apparently she forgot the second verse, which seems to be a commonality. The Wild singer also forgot the second verse badly, like days before or after. I can't remember.
And it's really weird because, like, if most teams have their singer who does the national anthem every night.
Right. I mean, Shalante Taylor's off of Broadway. Like, she can definitely sing. I think what we really need to talk about is how hard "O Canada" is. Like, just to remember and to sing.
They need to edit this thing.
Yeah, can we put you into like ChatGPT and get a shorter version that says the same things?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Instead of alternating verses in American and French, like we're just going to alternate words.
It's like, oh God, I don't even know enough French words to make a joke, but that sounds painful and wonderful. Let's do it. The real reason this is being butchered is because Canada's not good at hockey anymore.
It's because of the junior team.
Yeah, their junior team sucks. They can't win a Stanley Cup. USA #1, baby. Like, we've won the last Women's Worlds. We won the World Juniors. I hate to say this, but Canada's not the best hockey nation anymore.
I think this is just American exceptionalism at work.
It really is. Like, this is Manifest Destiny Hockey Edition.
Manifest, we will fuck up your anthem.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's a way to, like, fuck with people. Maybe it's a, like, get in their heads kind of thing, because they did that in Shoresy. when they play the American team, don't they bring out like a child to sing the Canadian national anthem?
Regardless, Shorzy cried.
Right.
Yeah. I think that it's kind of like psychological warfare. Like this is a Vietnam psyops era shit.
I mean, do you think that's also kind of poster board material though? Like, could you get them fired up? You know, if
well, that's the beauty of doing it right before the game. You don't have time to like let it stew. It's just all of a sudden it's there, and you're like, what do I do with this? Oh crap, I gotta play hockey.
And then you just take a egregious boarding penalty.
Yeah, and then you take the L.
Did its job. Yeah, maybe what we're looking at is sabotage.
I hope that the singer for the Red Wings replaces every word in the Canadian national anthem with pizza, pizza.
What if they just say, "We stand on guard for thee," repeatedly?
That's right up there with the British predilection of saying "beaten off" in newspaper articles.
Or like a Milli Vanilli moment, like, "Girl, you know it's girl, you know it's."
Yeah, and only one of them continues.
In positive anthem news, Winnipeg did another kind of nice job on the social scale, and they did their English.
They did their English. They're really good at pool.
I was just gonna say that's a pool joke. They did their anthem in both English and Punjabi, and that's impressive. I thought it was a really cool setup. How they showed it, how it was presented was kind of nice, and of course it got the Don Cherry types all stirred up.
Oh no, not another language! Rabble, rabble, rabble.
Yeah. Oh no, not seeing immigrants. What?
That's me see immigrants. That's impossible.
Yeah. Me see immigrant, me triggered.
Look at all these snowflakes who are just totally okay and comfortable around people of color. I am those snowflakes. I am triggered. Look at the snowflakes.
So, speaking of snowflakes, the All-Star game. They have
happening in Miami, Florida. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
that was last year or 2 years ago.
Where is it this year? Is it
Seattle?
No, it's in Toronto. It's at the Scotia.
Oh, at the Scotia.
But they have announced that it is going to be Octomom, 8 parts in nature, and it's going to the skills competition is going to be kind of a different setup.
Are they running in togas on ice?
No, what they're going to do is they're going to have 12 players, and they're competing for $1 million. And it's like an 8-event sort of knockout challenge in that you compete over 8 events, and then you gradually this gets whittled down to 1, I guess.
Well, we all know who's going to win. Perfect baby Dylan Larkin.
It's probably going to be like fucking like Brandon Hagel or something.
And then he'll have like 4 goals for the rest of the season, and I'll be like, but he won the skills competition.
Yeah, now that Connor Bedard is hurt, there's some curiosity as to like, do the Blackhawks deserve to send a player? Because probably not. But
Corey Perry.
He excels in the drinking competition.
He was actually an extra in Beer Fest.
I would not put that past him.
All right. Well,
I mean, Getzlaf was an extra, but
yeah,
I'm kidding. Yeah, the All-Star game is going to be whatever. It could be interesting. It could be dumb. It's nice that they're trying something new because last year's was kind of a snooze fest. And they have been for
ever.
Quite a while. I mean, the year that like Connor McDavid's first year as fastest skater, the year Dylan Larkin won fastest skater, it was like a toss up. And then like hardest shot after Zdeno Chara retired. Like those were interesting, but I like this, concept of we're going to go with an all-around competition.
I think the fastest shot should be one-timers only. Like it's not the like skate from the red line and rip a clapper from the blue line. It's like all one-timers.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I honestly think you might get higher scores. Like we saw what because you have perpetual motion as opposed to something a sitting
Perpetual motion.
You're a motion.
I moved to Brownian motion.
Brown note.
No, you're talking about I believe stored potential energy.
Yeah, there we go. You know what I don't do? Science or math or I don't do things.
Good thing we had that science consultant just off screen.
That is Evan. He doesn't get paid more for that.
It took me a second.
I was trying to think of what they call it in baseball.
Like inertia?
Yeah.
What?
Mass times velocity. When I was in elementary school, we had a project where we had to build a container and drop it from the roof of the school, and the container had an egg in it, and you had to like save your egg. And I put mine in a Chinese food container surrounded by Kleenex, and I had a Ninja Turtles parachute from like a toy, and I dropped it and it landed perfect. Only one.
Nice.
So I do know how to science. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was our health class prepare for childhood thing.
And if that's how we prepare for childhood, I'm glad a bunch of other people's eggs broke. Speaking of being broke, Martin Firk has been suspended for 5 games for we'll call it dangerous kicking motion, otherwise known as the fuck are you do? What the fuck are you doing?
Tried to cut a fucker.
Yeah,
tried to cut a motherfucker.
Very deliberately trying to cut somebody with their skate in the neck area. What are you doing?
Do you read that as a deliberate?
I watched it a lot, and it looked way more deliberate than the Adam Johnson incident to me personally.
Yeah, I kind of think that
we get cleaner video in this, and that helps. But like, he's going into the bench and like mule kicks up into the throat of the defending player or the player who had just hit him into the bench. It's like his forward motion has already stopped, and he's starting to come back onto the ice when he mule kicks. Like yes, it was deliberate, and he should have gotten suspended way longer than 5 games.
I kind of wonder if his argument was like, actually, I was trying to just write myself off of the boards, because he was over the boards. He was kind of stuck. But yeah, it was definitely dangerous. I think suspending him is definitely the right call. Yeah, surprised it's only for 5 games.
You have scimitars strapped to your feet. You don't get to kick.
That it's very true. And, even if it was unintentional, it's a dangerous play.
Yeah.
And so like it sucks that this issue has been kept in the limelight yet again.
Yeah. Like, I'm really glad that nobody that I care about nobody that cares about me pays all that much attention to sports news, because they'd be like, are you sure you want to play ice hockey? Did you buy one of those things where you can't get cut? No, I didn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Sure?
That's kind of where I was going with this, is like, have we bought neck protectors for ourselves? No. Would I like to give TJ Oshie my money? Sure.
Yeah. Those shirts are $190.
The shirts are?
Yeah. The ones with the wrist and the throat protection, they're a lot.
If it works and it's a good shirt, I think that's worth it. Like, yes, that is an obnoxious amount of money. I don't know.
It seems like that something like that shouldn't cost as much as it does.
Would you rather wear the turtleneck or wear the cuff?
At that price, I can probably get the shark mail. Like,
price.
And
I actually got a full medieval suit of armor.
Yeah, and put it put it in, get it bedazzled for $190. Yeah. Hockey player goes in the cage. Cage goes in the water. Shark can't cut his throat because he's wearing shark metal.
Yeah, so
neither can Martin fuck. That's a horrible impersonation of that moment in Jaws, but you get whatever.
it was perfect for this moment. This is just something to think about. Hockey's dangerous, and you kind of have to take yourself seriously when you're on the ice. You got to protect yourself, and you got to protect the players around you. And this serves as a reminder to everybody that the hockey skate cutting people in bad ways and bad places issue ain't going anywhere.
And it's also mostly avoidable.
Generally so.
Yeah.
Do better than we do and invest in some cut protective equipment.
Yes. I'll bring it up to my wife and be like,
Well, you don't want my neck to be cut.
and she'll be like, wait, your neck can be cut? No, you're done.
Actually, yes, I do. This insurance account says otherwise.
I have your purse. If I just without her knowing it, changed it to my nephew. Here you go. Here's a retirement plan. Speaking of retirement plans, Craig Berube, we know he doesn't have one because he ain't got to retire. Jordan Kyrou, on the other hand, there was some backlash over his comments about Berube's firing way back when.
Which I think his comments on the firing were just sort of like, yeah, he's not our coach anymore. Next question. He kind of gave it a Belichick, and people didn't like that apparently.
Yeah. They made him cry, which seems like a lot.
Yeah. Bullshit. I mean, I think they booed him in a win. Obviously to send a message, which is I don't understand how they took that much of an issue with what he said. I know Berube was beloved by St. Louis fans, and rightfully so.
And keep in mind, these are the same people who think they are part of the Midwest. They're delusional.
I mean, I'm willing to maybe deal for St. Louis as part of the Midwest if you kick all of the rest of Missouri out.
No, they call it the dirty South. Their rappers have said this routinely. No, St. Louis is out too. Thank you, Nelly.
But East St. Louis, we can claim that.
That's because it's in Illinois.
It is. So yeah, Jordan Kyrou had a very tearful moment in front of reporters, and I think kind of made everyone feel bad.
I hope so. I felt so bad I traded him in fantasy.
That's because Robert Thomas is where the real action is there, buddy. Yeah, he on the booze, he said, I definitely heard those. It's not easy, obviously, but see where they're coming from. It's definitely tough. I love playing here. I love playing for these fans. So this kind of got squashed by him taking a high road. And hats off to him for just showing that you can be professional and emotional and hurt at the same time. It's not easy what these guys do in and night out for 85 games. So yeah, it was kind of a lesson in humanity, I think.
Oh, the huge manatee.
Oh, the huge manatee. Speaking of huge manatees, Jacob Chychrun.
Yeah. Who I traded for in fantasy hockey. We're just hitting up. Can we? Yeah, never mind.
He made the water you just drank and went too fast down the wrong tunnel. Very conspicuously being an Ottawa Senators jersey going down the Dallas tunnel, and rather quickly to boot. Turns out he was just going to get fixed up. His face was fucked up and he was getting stitches. But it made for a very funny moment that everybody got to kind of talk about and unite around and have a good laugh, and it was worth it.
Did he do some snitching?
I don't think so, unless that like he wants to get traded to an actual cup contender.
He sold nuclear secrets to the Russians. I knew it.
He brought Canadian nuclear secrets to Dallas.
They're like, oh, you want to buy some secrets here, eh?
The truth is, the core of our nuclear bombs is actually maple syrup.
It's very reactive once it hits your tummy acid.
The bomb is actually just a human.
Oh,
his name is James.
My buddy over there, Carl. Oh, geez, he had some maple syrup and some poutine, and he was a nuclear bomb for 2 to 3 days. Let me tell you, we were on a road trip, and I couldn't even stand it. It was negative 30 in Alberta, and I still had the window down.
Yeah, a Canadian nuclear bomb is just showing Don Cherry a picture of an immigrant.
It's a oh no, I can't top that. You're good.
You know who can't top a career in hockey is Mallory Suliotis, who has called it a career, and she retires on top. And you know who is super stoked about this?
Her kitties.
Yeah, her cats. They are gonna get so many snuggles now. Gordy and I forget the other cat's name. Yeah, they're gonna get some more mom time. So, happy trails. Congratulations on calling it a career on your own terms. Yeah, we'll enjoy following her on Twitter.
Speaking of retirements, Nolan Patrick retired and then actually didn't. He
did a Schrodinger's retirement.
If a player retires in the forest and nobody's around him, does he retire?
There's a player in this box. He can either be retired or unretired.
So like this coaching like mentorship program announced him as being hired by their program as like a skills specialist. And they listed him as a retired NHL player.
Oh.
And so that was like the thing that came out was like, oh, Nolan Patrick is retired. And then like he like relatively quickly was like, whoa, no.
I'm only half retired.
I'm just hurt. And then, oh, like that's actually what Nick Saban's going to do in the next 48 hours. Just kidding. I'm coaching Auburn.
Retiring with an upper body injury.
Yeah. So, as of this taping, it could change by the time I edit this, but Nolan Patrick has not retired from the game of NHL. We just thought he did shortly.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, far be it from him to get a side gig while he's not playing hockey. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, get paid, bud.
I mean, I think he's also getting paid to not play hockey. So
I
maybe,
would think so.
But
yeah.
But he's just afforded, you know,
he's got some free time. Yeah,
he does have some free time. Also on the retirement docket is Soroya Tinker, who has officially retired from professional hockey to join CBC TSN Sportsnet as an analyst. So as we thought, she ain't going nowhere, and we're stoked to see this.
Rad. Yes. More Soroya Tinker, more people of color and women in hockey. Thank you, Canadian hockey coverage, for leading the way in that instead of fucking hiring Chris Chelios.
But yeah, she's just super captivating and really, you know, interesting. Has always had just her heart in the right place and knows when to speak up. And so, yeah, we've really enjoyed seeing her grow in the game, and I'm glad that we're going to be able to see her grow further.
Somebody who probably doesn't have any more growth to do, but also has some game left in him, apparently. The Bulin Wall, Nikolai Hobby-Bulin, who you will remember from having retired like a decade ago in the NHL, has signed a one-way contract for KHL team Torpedo. He's been the goalie coach there for a while, but apparently they were like, fuck it, give him a contract. And he is now an active goaltender for the Torpedo team.
Yeah, I want like some friendly to happen where we get Yager shooting against Nikolai Hobby-Bulin again, and just like, I don't know, maybe that'll like magically balance the budget or something. But really, Nikolai got tired of how his goalie prospects kept fucking up. And so he said, well, you little shits, I'm going to get on the ice and show you how it's done. Get off my lawn. TikTok about it. And yeah.
I can't tell whether or not he's played yet. Let me see if I can find some stats. It doesn't look like it. But he has officially like signed a contract he was 50. I think he's now 51.
Amazing.
You know, like, he's like, you think he like called up Yager and was like, anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, I can do great.
I think he called up Yager and was like, hey, do you have any of that blood of the young people?
He's like, yeah, you saw the picture of me with a model.
I got other liquids from young people than that. Yeah, it really, the reality is that the Russians are on the move, and so we need the Berlin Wall.
That's, you know, if they break through Ukraine, all hats are off. Finally, our last little tidbit today is just kind of quaint and hilarious. So Oliver Bjorkstrand had some plans for All-Star Weekend. He was going to go down to San Diego with the family, spend some time, you know, maybe kick around the Gaslight District, maybe go board the USS Midway, see some history.
Maybe like get a swan dress or like attack a reporter.
Or do what I did, which is eat your weight in tacos while there. However, he's had to cancel those plans because he didn't realize it, but he's been selected to the All-Star game. Rumor has it everybody else is disappointed but him. I just made that up. But
his family's annoyed.
His family's like, but Dad...
you mean we
I
have
don't
to
even
go
know
to
if he has kids. Like, I'm just totally making...
You mean we have to go to Toronto?
It's cold there.
He's like, we're in Seattle. It's cold here.
Yeah, shut up. We're about to get snow. I have like 16 inches in Bend right now.
I bet you had 16 inches in Bend.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and so Seattle did a funny because their social media team rocks, and they put out a video of him finding out that he was selected for the All-Star game and immediately thinking of his vacation he has to cancel.
I really... Why can't the NHL be run by their various team social medias? Because they seem like socially responsible and progressive and forward-thinking and hilarious, and the NHL is not any of those things.
I'm just wondering, like, how many players are going to be late to the All-Star game because, like, Alaska Airlines had shit falling out of the sky and they had to ground a bunch of planes. It's like, oh, Oliver Bjorkstrand, actually, we can't get you to Toronto in time for the All-Star game.
We had to switch you to Delta.
Yeah.
Wait, we had to switch you to United. No. I was going to say Spirit, but you know they don't fly to Toronto.
I mean, they do. It's just in the middle of the night and has 3 layovers.
And you have to go to Phoenix, Charlotte, San Diego, and then up to Toronto. But we'll get you there. Also, a bag of peanuts is $17. Some things that are free, however, are finding us on the internets. You can find us at handsomehockey.com, Handsome Hockey Podcast on Instagram. I still don't know what Threads is, but we have it.
Reportedly, it exists.
It's Handsome Hockey.
It's where Zuckerberg shows off beef photos.
Beef, it's what's for dinner. It's my name. It was my name before I dropped out of college.
At Handsome Hockey on X, handsomehockeypod@gmail.com. Don't email us. Like, just don't. Or do. And if you're going to email us, make it really funny and let us know you did, because we don't check that email address. Handsome Hockey Facebook page. We have a YouTube page. You could probably tell by me rambling about our social media. We're done. Thank you for listening and spending this however long it is after I get it edited time with us. Whether you're driving in your car, sitting at your desk, swabbing the deck of a Carnival cruise ship, whatever you're doing while listening to us, we thank you mightily. We are just still thrilled and humbled that anybody listens to this podcast. It's kind of an amazing feeling to know that, you know, whether it's 10 people or 190 people on those random one-offs, you know, we connect with some of you, and we give you the social medias. So if you want to connect with us, we're happy to hear from you. Despite my clamoring for no emails, we'll take an email.
I was like, I totally checked that email, but whatever.
Oh, that's good. I just look at how many unread emails are in it, and I go,
okay. I don't like, it's all just spam.
Yeah.
So I don't click on anything.
Yeah. Oh, clicking on the like laptop be damned. Like you're done for. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to us and hanging out with us. And I don't think we had any silverware or kittens in the background today. So we're sorry you missed out on that. But we are just happy to be here. And hold on. No, that sucked. But we are happy to be a better produced podcast than most of the serious podcasts out there.
Next week, silverware holding kittens.
Yeah. Playing Spoon Man by Soundgarden. And one of them actually does a very good Chris Cornell impersonation. So like, wait for that. We'll see you next time. Stay handsome, everybody.
Restez beau, tout le monde.